think that part is clear to everyone now, because what we are going to study next, it heavily depends upon creating tables. That is the basic building blocks in a database, right? Until and unless you have the tables, you cannot create queries, you cannot create forms, and you cannot create reports. So if somebody asks you a question, what is the precondition for creating forms, queries, and reports in a table, then you will answer the question as the precondition is that at least one table should be there in the database if I want to create a form, a query, or a report, because all these database objects are dependent on a table. They draw data from the table. That is why table is the very fundamental building block of a database, right? So remember this whenever you have to create a form, a query, or a report. An empty database with no tables, you cannot create a form, query, or report on that, right? So now to understand what is a query. Okay, so we are going to understand what is a query. So give me a moment to open. Wait a sec. What is a query? Right? Query is a question asked to the database. Question asked to the database. You ask a question to the database. This is your database. We always use this to represent a database, because database is something which is stored on your hard disk, and this is the user. Okay, and you ask a question to the database in the form of a query, and database gives response. Okay, gives the response in the form of output, the output of the query, right? So why the queries? Because in olden days, when only manual record keeping was there, it was like, okay, it took hours to fill in the data, right? And then when something was asked, like how many people work in the sales department, then it took another 5 to 6 hours to figure out the data, to scour the data, scour all the files, and find out, extract the data from there. Each and every record had to be manually studied, and data was extracted from there. Okay, and even then there were a lot of chances of errors. Why? Because human interaction is involved. Human interaction is something which will always lead to errors. You cannot totally eliminate or rule out the possibility of errors when it comes to human interaction. Okay, when humans are doing something, they will commit errors somewhere or the others, and it is also very, very time consuming. As we have already seen, it takes a lot of time to summarize the data, to process the data. But when it comes to a DBMS, most of our task is automated. We are digitally doing this. It's a digital or electronic record keeping system. Hence, it has advanced methods of maintaining data, managing data, organizing it, as well as manipulating the data. Right? So when we are talking about manipulating data, retrieval of data is very, very important. Retrieval of data means, retrieval word comes from the word retrieve, which means to get, to extract. right? To extract something, to get something. That is, you want to get data from, you want to get information from the database. And that is done by designing queries. We design queries in a database software. Okay, so all the software like MS Access, OpenOffice Base or LibreOffice Base, they all provide methods of handling queries by designing queries, as well as SQL. Queries can be thrown to the database by designing queries in the GUI mode, that is graphical user interface mode, as well as by writing SQL queries, that is by writing commands. Here you need to learn the commands, learn how to create queries. Okay, you just could write a query and you just run the query and you get the result, but you need to do some initial study on SQL, on the basic commands of SQL in order to access information out of it. But in case of designing queries, you don't have to remember anything. You can directly do it with the help of point and click operations. By means of some point and click operations, you can easily create or you can design queries in your databases. I hope this much is clear. The purpose is clear, what we are studying. What are queries? Queries are questions we ask to the database, and database gives us the response. It answers the questions. Okay, and very less time is needed. This is done within fractions of seconds. Okay, you just ask a question and press a button and you quickly get the answer. The work which took 5 to 6 hours earlier, now it is done within moments. Okay, your boss asks you to submit a report, you do it with a few point and click operations and you place it on the table of your boss, okay, the same day, right? So this is why DBMS is so popular these days. I hope the purpose is clear to everyone, why we are using queries. What is the use of queries? Yes. Okay. Now let us move on to actually creating queries, right? So you can see over here, database, just a second. I can see very less members in the class today, only 8 students. This is, anyways, okay. So we are going to create queries within a database. And for that, we will be using, first I will be telling you how to create a query on a single table. Now, one more thing, students. Queries can be asked, that is, questions can be asked on a single table as well as multiple tables. You can only ask a question on a single table, or you can use multiple tables, but here you have to take care that the tables are connected. Tables are connected, and tables will be connected with the help of what? This is a question I have asked. Think and give me the answer. How are tables supposed to be connected to each other? Jaldi bolo. You have studied this already. Do you remember key fields? Key fields पता है? Do you remember key fields? Primary key, foreign key. We have studied these. These are the fields which are the common fields between the tables, which connect the tables together, and with the help of those connected tables we are able to create queries. So don't worry, we will discuss about that also. We are beginning with queries on single table for starters today, right? So let us start with this, and I'm going to database. Okay, one more thing here, please make a note. How many ways you can open the database? One is by clicking on the open button. You can see the open button over here. When you click on the open button, it will open the open dialog box. That is the browser. But here you have to actually navigate to the location. Like I usually keep all my databases over here. And from here you get company DB, and from here I can click on open. Okay, or click on this drop down arrow, and if you find, now this shows the list of all the recently accessed or recently opened databases, so you can find it over here like it is already being displayed at the top. So this is the second way, and the third way is click on database, which opens the database wizard, and here it asks what you want to do. There are three radio buttons over here. You can select any one of these buttons only. Either you create a new database, or you open an existing database, or you connect to an existing database. So I'm going to click on open an existing database, and you can see company DB is already displayed, and you can see hospital management system. This was what we worked on yesterday. Then library management system, I did this with class 10th A. So they are being displayed over here, and here also you find the open button. So if you click that, it will again open the open dialog box, right? So now because company DB is already being displayed here, I have selected it and I'll click on finish, and it will open the database. I hope it is clear to all of you in how many ways we can open a database. So this can come as a question. Please note it down. I am typing this over here. In how many ways can you open an existing database from the OpenOffice launcher window? Please make a note of this question, a very important question. Let me send this to you. I've sent this question and we have already discussed it. Now I'm going to click on tables here first to check which all tables are there in my database. And you can see over here we have these many tables, right? Out of this, firstly, I'm going to go for the teacher table. So I'm going to double click the teacher table. And you can see this is my table. Earlier I had sorted the records. So once again, I'm going to sort the records. I'm going to select the entire table and go to sort. And I'm going to remove the sort from the others and sort the first one based on number. That too in the ascending order. And now you can see the entire table is sorted. So this is the table which we have, on which we are going to create our queries. Okay. So write down the very first question. The first query which we are going to do over here is E1. Now query 1 is display all the records of teachers. Display all the records of teachers. So this is the very first and very easy query which we have seen. I'm going to close this first. And now we are over here. We are going to go to the queries tab. On the left hand side, you can see the queries tab. We'll click on queries tab. And here we have three different ways of creating queries: design view, wizard, and SQL view. SQL we'll see a little later. Okay, we will start with the first one, that is create query in the design view. So I've clicked on this, and with this you get a small dialog box over here, add table or query. That is the table on which you are going to create a query. That table you have to select first. So which table am I going to select first? was display all the records of teachers. So out of all these tables in this, yes, we are going to select the teacher table from here, right? So I've selected this and I'm going to click on the add button, which is given over here. Now you can also see queries over here, queries radio button. That is, you can also select some queries, because queries are also what they display everything, display records in a tabular format. So what base does is it can draw data from other queries also. So that is only applicable or only possible when you have existing queries in your database. So far I don't have any queries, so I'm going to select only tables. Click on add and you can see here in the background the table is added. Here I can add as many tables as I single table queries. So I have selected only one table, right? After that, we come down over here in the bottom level of this window, right? If I just show it to you, this is the bottom level of the window where you can see a number of different options. What is displayed here? Field, alias, table, sort, visible, function, criterion, or. So we will understand the meaning of all these words, all these keywords slowly and gradually. But because it is the introductory class for queries, that's why I'll be taking a bit of time here, right? Now the question was display all the records in our table. So you can see in front of field, there is a drop down arrow. When I click this drop down arrow, the first thing you can see is teacher dot asterisk. What does this asterisk mean? This asterisk means all the field values. जितने भी fields आपके table में हैं, वो सारे fields display की जाएं. And apart from that, individual field names are also provided here. Table name dot field name format. Okay. Teacher is the table name and NO, that is serial number is your field name. So in a query, it is possible that maybe you want to view all the field values. Maybe you want to view only the name and age of the teacher. Maybe you want to view only the name and the department in which the teacher works. So you can select from this list, and you can also choose to display all the field values. Because I have to display all the records and it is not mentioned which field, so I'm going to go with all the field values, and for that I will select the first one, that is asterisk. Okay, and now I'm going to save my query. So you can see over here there is the save button. You can also use Control S, and I'm going to save this query now. So this will be, and always learn to save the queries in this way: query underscore all teachers. Okay, and click on OK, and you can see the query is saved over here. I want to now see the result of the query. So for that, on this toolbar you can see the run query button. Just click on the run query button and you can see the result of the query over here. Can you see this? This is the result of the query, that is display all the teacher records, right? Let us try to refine our search. This was one query. I'm going to close this query window and we will create another query now. Now my second question will be display the names and age of all teachers. What have I written? Display the names and age of all the teachers. Now, I don't need their serial number. I don't need their department. I don't need any other information. I only want the name and age of all the teachers. So how am I going to proceed? Again, first step, create query in the design view. Select the table on which you are creating the query. So which table am I going to select here? Tell me quickly. Jaldi
Ma'am,
bolo.
teacher.
Yes, very good.
Teacher.
We are going to select teacher, click on add, and now because this is a query on only a single table, I'm going to close this. Now we come to the field section here. I want to display only the teacher name and the age. So from this drop down list, the first field which I am going to select is teacher.name, and then in the cell just next to it, again when I click, I get this drop down list. Here again you'll be able to see all the field names. So the second thing which I'm going to select is teacher.age. Okay, so now this is done, and I'm going to click anywhere. 1 second, I made a mistake. Teacher.age, and here you can see a small checkbox and visible. That is, I want to display name of the teacher and age of the teacher. So I'll put a check on this, right? I'll make sure that there is a check on this, and table is teacher. So now you can see over here that you are selecting, you are going to display name and age of all the teachers, and you are making sure that both name and age fields are selected over here. Now I will save my query, and I'm going to save it as teacher. Click on OK, and the query is saved. Now to run the query, you can see this button over here, or the shortcut key F5 can also be used. If we go to, 1 second. Okay, so here you can see the run query button. So if you click on this query button, you will be able to see the result of the query, and you can see only the names and ages of the teacher, of all the teachers, are visible over here. And below that you can see a small navigator. This is first, the pointer is set at record 1 of 8. Total records are 8, and currently the pointer is set at record 1. There are this navigator buttons. This is the next one. If you click on next, now you can see record 2, then next, record 3. So this button is used to move to the next record. This button is used to move to the previous record. This button is used to move to the first record, and this button is used to move to the last record. Is this clear to everyone? Once you have saved your query, executed the query, closed the query window, and you will again reach this main database window. And in the query, as queries are selected, you can see how many queries we have created so far. 2 queries we have created, right? Now let me change the question. Display names, age, and department where all the teachers work. Now I've changed the question. I have to display name, age, and department of all the teachers. So how will I do that? So again, I'll click on the design view, select the table teacher, click on close, come down to field, and now tell me what am I going to select in this? First, I'm going to select name. Second is I have to display the age, so I will select age from here. And third, I also have to display the department, so I have selected department, and I'm going to click on this visible button because this has to be displayed, right? Once this is done, go back again. No need of selecting table because we already have one table over here, right? Go back to save and give a name to your query. name age DEPT, click on OK, and you can see that it is saved. Again, run the query using this button over here, and you can see name, age, and department of all the teachers is being displayed. Is this clear to everyone? Did you understand this? How to create a query, a simple query? Is it clear, students? Yes or no? Fine. Next question. Now I'm going to twist the question a little bit. Display the names and age of only those teachers who work in mathematics department. Because I want the list of only the math teachers. Okay, suppose there is a conference or there is a seminar where the principal wants to send only the math teachers. So he asks the IT department to get the list of only the math teachers. So what is the IT department going to do? They are going to simply throw a query on the database to extract the names and ages of only those who work in the IT department. So we are going back again. Create a query in the design view, select teacher table, click on add, close, come down here in the field. Now, first thing is what is to be displayed. So only the names and ages. So I will select the name. Second is I'm going to select the age of the teacher. But now along with that, I also need to add a criterion. That is only I want to display those from the mathematics department, right? So for that, I need to first check what is there in my table. So I'll quickly go back to my table. You can easily go back to your table by going to the taskbar, and you can see two different windows. So this is the query window and this is the main database window. So go back to the database window, click on tables, click on teacher, and you can see what is the name for math department? MATH, math. Close this, come back to your query window, and here I'm going to go to criterion option. Okay, but you can see that this criterion where my cursor is blinking, it is below name. So I cannot set the criteria for department. I want to set the department as math. Okay, so I cannot set that over here. I cannot set that over here. So I'll be selecting from here, that is in this field, the third field, that is department, because now I have added a criterion, that is I want to display the records of only teachers working in the math department. So मुझे यहाँ पे department लाना पड़ेगा. We are not going to display that. We are only going to use department for the criterion. So now we come to criterion, and here I'm going to type equals, and within single quotes I will type math and close the single quotes. Why single quotes? Because it is a varchar field. Any textual text fixed char field or text varchar field or text varchar ignore case field, you will enclose it within single quotes. So I have math, I have taken math over here, but I'm not going to display department. Okay, so I have unchecked this box, right? So just let us check. We are going to display name and age only of those teachers who work in the math department. So under department and in the criterion call row, I have selected what? Math. Now save this, and I'm going to save it as math department teachers and click on OK, and I'll run the query. And now you can see only three names are being displayed: Sandeep, Rakesh, and Shalakha. You want to check whether it's the correct answer. So again, you go back to your main database window, double click teachers, and let us cross check. You can see Sandeep, you can see Rakesh, and you can see Shalakha. They are the three people who work in the math department. So you can see that your answer to the query is absolutely correct. So this is your query result. Now in this query, only 3 records are there. Rest all the records are filtered out. So it is just like the filter option which you have studied in Excel. If you remember this, you all have studied filter option is in not only Excel but Calc. You have studied it in Calc. There is a filter option in databases also. Okay, so here we are filtering out the unwanted records, right? So it is not like now this is your original table. Nothing is deleted from your original table. Only a new view is created and you are just able to see the filtered records, the one which you want. But in the original table, the entire data is saved. So queries are just questions which you ask to the database and you design that over here. आपने बताया, यहाँ पे आपने क्या किया, in this particular section, you have specified that I want to use the table teacher. From that, I want to display only name and age, and department I don't want to display, but department should be math. So you have provided what you want. This is the data which you are providing. Means ये मुझे चाहिए. Just like you go to a shopping, you go to a mart, and there you just say I want a soap, I want a bathing soap, I want groceries, I want this, I want that, and all that is given to you and you bring it, right? So here you are telling to the database what you want, this, and the database is answering your question by looking into the tables, and this takes fractions of seconds. This is clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now one more question and we will wind up the class. Let's go back to the table view and just check what I can give. Yes. Now my next and the last question for today is display the records of all those teachers who earn more than 30,000 as salary in a month. Now pay attention. Display the records means now it is not specified whether name should be displayed or age should be displayed or salary should be displayed. It is when it is given display the records, it means you have to display all the field values. Understood? And for all the field values, you already have something known as teacher dot asterisk. All field values. So we are going to use this over here, right? So, and the criteria over here will be in the criterion column, you are going to set salary. Okay, salary should be earn more than 30,000, which means it will be what? Greater than 30,000. Is it clear? Here also you can use all the relational operators. Less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, and not equal to. This is what? Not equal to. Understood this, everyone? This is similar to your math symbol like this, but because we cannot type, we don't have any key on the keyboard which can resemble these two signs. Hence, it is taken like this. It is always in computer science, always you will type less than and greater than equal to this way. Is it clear? Please remember this. So now we'll go back and we'll design this query. So I'm going to click close the previous query, go back to my database window, and again I'm going to go to queries, create query, add the table teacher, close this window and come down here. Now I want to display all the fields, so I'm going to select teacher dot asterisk, right? And in the next field, because I have to also set the criterion, so I'm going to select. Now criterion is set on which field? Can anyone tell me quickly? It is said, yes, it is salary. So I'm going to select salary here. And in criterion field, I'm going to type greater than 30,000. You can see over here, because I want to display the record.
Ma'am, in this we have to select visible.
No, you can just close this. Otherwise also salary will be visible, because I have selected teacher dot asterisk, which is all the fields. Is it clear?
Okay, ma'am.
Right. Now I'm going to click on save, and here I'm going to type salary greater than 30,000. Click on OK, and we have saved this, right? Now we will see the result by using run query. And now you can see over here, there is only one teacher who earns more than 30,000. Is it clear? Let us cross check our answer. So we will go back to our table view, and let's see 12,000, 20,000, 30,000, and you can see only one record over here who earns more than 30,000. It was not greater than equal to, it was greater than 30,000. Had we changed it to greater than equal to, I would have gotten other record also. Which record? I would have gotten the record of Sandeep also and Shyam also, right? But because it is only greater than, so we are only getting this record. Now we go back to our query. We have saved it already. We have run the query and only one record was there. So we got the answer. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that was the last query for the day. I'm closing.